So it looks like Michigan State just added their last player out of the portal, and depending on how you look at it, that's going to decide if you're a glass half full or half empty person. We'll talk about it.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day. And shout out to all of the everydayers out there. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below your confidence in the run game coming up for Michigan State football this upcoming season. We're going to get to that in segment 2. More mailbag questions in segment 3. But first, guys, we got another addition out of the portal for Michigan State football, and yes, it is another defensive secondary player. My goodness gracious, we went into the spring window saying that, yeah, they're going to target another guy, maybe two. Wow, this has been a lot in the spring window for the defensive secondary, and before we get to, the referendum of what all this means, and are they really telegraphing something to us with how much secondary depth they've been adding? Well, let's learn about the new guy right here. Devin Cromwell, Texas Tech last year. Now, this was his only year playing NCAA football. He was actually playing football over in Ontario. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But last year at Texas Tech, Devin Cromwell played in 9 games, had an injury that's shortened his season last year, and he got 2 starts for the Red Raiders. Now, in those 2 starts, against Baylor and Arizona, he made the most of those 17 combined tackles in those games. Now, most of his snaps came from free safety, played a little bit of box safety, a little bit of nickel or slot corner, whatever you want to call that position. That's up to you, but primarily free safety. But again, just like other guys that we've seen here added in the spring portal, you're getting guys that can play some box, some free safety, some nickel position here. So clearly a point of emphasis for the staff to tidy up all the depth pieces for this spring. Now, to go into more of his stats here, he led up just 3 catches on 8 targets during the entire season. So not a, massive sample size here. Or maybe he was just such a shutdown player when he was on the field that they only targeted him 8 times. We could be real with ourselves. I mean, he just wasn't on the field all too often. But when he was, and when he was targeted, hey, you know what? A little bit of a shutdown safety over there, Mr. Cromwell is. That's right. Pro Football Focus, we always like to point out these numbers when we talk about new players here. He graded out as a 62 overall, so not great shakes, but it's not like the worst you've ever seen either. It's pretty much what you're going to get in the spring portal, especially if you were in Michigan State shoes and you were just looking to add more of that D word, guys. We've been beating this word into oblivion, depth. This was always going to be the kind of players Michigan State was getting here in the spring. Anyway, like we said, last year was his only year in NCAA. This will be his one last year of eligibility remaining. And before he headed over to Texas Tech, yes, our friend of the North, he played at University of Guelph. That is part of an Ontario league where there's different Ontario universities that play football. And while University of Guelph we're necessarily like the Georgia Bulldogs of, the greater Toronto area. They kind of struggled with him there, but that didn't stop Mr. Cromwell from making, I believe it was the 2nd-team All-Star team in that league up there for Canadian football. So let's tabulate what this staff has done in just the spring portal window alone, and just in the defensive secondary alone too, guys. They added Tracy Revels from Bowling Green, played a lot as a true freshman down at Bowling Green. This is one of the guys I'm more high on coming out of the spring portal cycle. You have Anthony Pinnis, guy that played high school football in Michigan. He was at UTSA just for the spring. After 2 community college stops, he will be a corner. Okay, that's where he projects to play at. And then not too long ago, I think inside the last week, actually, Dontavius Nash, he commits out of East Carolina. He played a little bit of corner down there for the Pirates, but recruited to play safety, a little bit of nickel here too. So that is 4 guys in the defensive secondary alone that were just added this spring. You want to add Malcolm Bell, Nijay Burt, Joshua Eaton. That is 7 secondary guys that were added in this whole offseason from other schools. And this kind of had to happen, especially for the corner position. That was a room that was completely gutted of anyone that played there pretty much. Chuck Brantley, gone. Ed Woods, gone. Jalen Thompson, gone. So you did have some returners there, Chance Rucker being one of them. But, yeah, you really had to have an overhaul at that position. But let's focus in on the safety/nickel position, because this is where we're going to get into, okay, are you over there wearing your Michigan State t-shirt? Are you a glass half full kind of Michigan State fan? Are you a glass half empty? Or are we just all looking at this a little too deep right now? We'll come up to that conclusion here after talking about the safety position, because right now seems pretty safe to say that pencil into your starting role Malik Spencer, Nikai Martinez, especially going into this fall camp. Now, should someone else jump up and take a starting role away? Look, we like Malik Spencer, we like Nikai Martinez, but it's not like they'd be jumping over some first-team all-Big Teners. Like, every position group is pretty much up for grabs on the defensive side of the ball here. Now, you do have your younger guys behind Malik and Nikai. You have Justin Denson, a true sophomore, Armarion Smith, who got some solid production 2 years ago, didn't really play all too much last year. Same with Khalil Majid, who I thought was a really solid depth piece. He had a shortened season. And then add that on top of Tracy Revels, Devin Cromwell, Dontavius Nash. That's what you're looking at for the safety position. You want to go down to nickel. Some of the guys we named could possibly profile as a nickel, like Justin Denson. Could he be one of the guys over there? Tracy Revels, we've talked about, he could be a starting nickel position. Jeremiah Hughes, you want to pull a name in there too. Why not? So the room is getting a little full here with some depth. Now, if you want to read into everything, like every single little thing, and why not? Come and join the party here, because this is just what we do here. You can take all this in one of two ways. And by all this, I mean adding 4 depth pieces to the secondary after spring practice. After that, we were saying, after we have heard that, hey, it would be like 1 guy or 2 guys. But after X amount of spring practices, the staff felt it was necessary to add 4 depth pieces to the secondary. So here we go. Door number 1. This is if you're a glass half empty sort of person, you see that. And even though that you understand that, hey, you had to add some depth from the guys that you lost last year, you look at this and you're thinking to yourself, that's a lot more than we needed. This means that this staff is not sold whatsoever on who they have in that safety room or the nickel position. Uh-oh. This is not good. They are kind of hitting the panic button here late. They are bringing in guys that, yeah, sure, come on over to East Lansing. There are snaps to be had here. Yikes. Or, guys, more sunnier. Okay, the clouds are going to open up behind this door here, because door number 2, hey, yeah, sure, you know what? They weren't completely sold on the secondary. They needed some more depth. It's because our receivers are just balling out so hard in spring. You can't believe it. They're making everyone in the secondary look so bad that our staff has to go out and get a few extra pieces late in the spring portal cycle window. Now, we had this conversation, not on this show, but another show I joined not too long ago, Can't Read, Can't Write, and one of the wonderful co-hosts there, Mike Jones, we were having this conversation about, is this like a concerning amount of secondary players added at this point? Have we gone to the other side of the threshold here? Because, this might be something. I don't know, but he brought up a great point. He rolled back the clock a little bit. 2021, when Xavier Henderson said during spring practice, I can't tell if we're just kind of bad on defense or if Kenneth Walker is truly this good of a running back where he makes everyone look bad. Is it possible that Nick Marsh is just making people look that bad? Is it possible that Omari Kelly out of Middle Tennessee State is just making people look that bad? Guys, very possible. Christian McCray, hey, behind door number 2 is the door I want to live behind. We're not going to get a concrete answer here, at least for a few extra months here. But, yeah, that's Devin Cromwell. That's the latest guy. What a busy portal cycle this has been. We're going to give you one more glass half full, glass half empty kind of perspective decision that you got to make here at the other side of this break here. But first, guys, FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. They are keeping it hot this NBA playoff season because they're in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. And FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Guys, some of my favorite ways to bet is not just the first basket score. Yeah, sure, that's fun, whatever. No, FanDuel cranks it up method of first basket score. You want Chet Holmgren to score the first basket? Fine, go ahead, do it. If you want him specifically to make a three-pointer as the first basket, the winnings get even better on FanDuel. Guys, if you're a new customer, gets even sweeter. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you will get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Another glass half full, glass half empty paradox that you have to ask yourself, and this isn't, maybe as extreme. It's not going to really tell a story about how you feel about the season coming up. But I did think that this was an interesting note that Spartans Illustrated pointed out on Twitter. And they tweeted out after the commitment of Mr. Cromwell that Michigan State closed on 8 of the 9 guys that visited in the spring portal cycle. Not too shabby. The only guy that missed out on, Gavin Edwards. That was between us, Maryland, and Iowa. He'll be playing for the Terrapins. We will be seeing him in Ford Field last week of the season. That's right. We're going to jam it to you, Gavin, over there. But that's a high hit rate. And we're going to narrow it down even more specifically. That means they hit on 7 of 8 scholarship kids. The guy that we're going to leave out here, Jake I'm going to screw his name up. Lamankusa. That's the guy that transferred over from Hope College, defensive end. He's going to be a walk-on here. So guys that have earned scholarships right off the bat here, Dontavius Nash, Anthony Pinnis, Tracy Revels, Cam Williams, Isaac Smith, Kai Rios, and Devin Cromwell. Okay, those are your 7 guys. Now, here's where, it's glass half full, glass half empty. The half full is wow, that's how you close the door on recruitment, Jonathan Smith. Way to go. And this goes back to conversations we had last summer. If you've been listening to the show this intently for this long, which, first of all, good on you. Second of all, a lot of those conversations, just as a quick refresher, when you go into June, official visit season for recruiting, we pointed out that Jonathan Smith likes to get into battles that he knows he has a really good chance of winning. He doesn't bring in a ton of guys throughout a bunch of weekends and has a 15% hit rate. No, his hit rate was pretty high compared to what else you see in college football. Now, whether that's the correct way to go about things, completely different conversation. We're just here to tell you that's the strategy. They burn up resources and use official visits on guys they are damn sure about that they can get. That's highlighted by getting 7 of 8 guys that visited this spring portal cycle. Now, the glass half empty sort of thing, it's also worth pointing this out. A lot of these guys that visited, Michigan State was the only place they visited. Now, there is something to be said about, I'm sure other staffs have reached out to some of these guys, maybe tried to get them on campus but couldn't. But Dontavius Nash, as far as I know, just Michigan State was his only visit. The last guy, Devin Cromwell, I think Michigan State was his only visit. Tracy Revels, Isaac Smith, I believe, too. Now, Cam Williams, he was between us. He did visit Kansas. He did visit Vanderbilt. Kai Rios, he did have some serious offers from New Mexico, Vanderbilt, an SEC school. Look at us go. So that's, another way to take it right there. But the thesis is, in all this, Jonathan Smith, been doing what we've been saying. Really only gets into battles where, hey, we're going to get you on campus if we really feel like there is a legitimate shot of getting you, and did a great job of closing the door right there. Guys, we're going to head into the mailbag here. Now, PGH writes in, I'm pretty confident in the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the tight ends, and the offensive line. But what is it about with the running backs that will give MSU fans hope? What did the coaches see in a transfer from Sacramento State that might translate in the Big Ten? Is the sophomore Texas tandem good enough? Will Jace Clarizio see action? Now, guys, if you missed out, the Sacramento State transfer he is referring to is Elijah Tau-Tolliver. Now, I've been pretty as loud as I can be without sounding like I'm being an alarmist, hopefully. I've been pretty loud that, running back is still a question mark here. They did very little in the portal. Like we said, they grabbed one guy out of Sacramento State. Okay, great. 95% of your running back snaps are not here from last year, and this is the solution. We're going to get into, those concerns here, but allow me to be a ray of sunshine. I don't want this to be one of the episodes where, everyone's just commenting how negative I am. It's probably going to be one of the shows where I get people saying that I'm too negative and too positive in the same exact show. But here we go. I do want to talk about why there's reason to believe that the run game can get a little better here. And guys, it has to get a little better here. It's been pretty rough the last few years here. Yeah. Anyway, but you know what? No. We'll wait till we get into those stats just to rehash how bad it's been. Why do I think that there could be reason that the run game gets a little better? I'm going to go to another transfer here. The guy from Wake Forest, Matt Gulbin, interior offensive lineman. Will he play guard? Will he play center here? To be determined, but we do know this, and it's not just the fact that he had the second best run blocking grade against ACC guards last year, according to Pro Football Focus. Like, that's all fun and well. Awesome. There's an actual numerical stat you could attribute to it, though. And last year, Wake Forest running back Desmond Claiborne, 59 carries through Matt Gulbin's A gap or his B gap. He averaged 5.0 yards per carry when he ran through Matt Gulbin's gaps. That was the most out of anyone on the offensive line, like by a pretty good margin. So if you're running off his right shoulder, his left shoulder, that's probably your best option here. Stanton Ramble, your left tackle, he gets another year better. I just like the way that this offensive line shakes up right now. Again, it is a wait until you see it to fully believe it. But I also do find solace that, hey, maybe, knock on wood, you're not going to be under third-string right guard by week 4 of the season this year like you were last year. So we are no, there's talent, there's depth. Let's see it materialize here. And you also have talent around the running backs too, guys, like Ken Omari Kelly. Take attention away. Like, can you actually have another legitimate receiver out there to pair with Nick Marsh that's going to take some eyeballs off the running backs, drag another body out there to the secondary? Maybe Christian McCray is that guy, the slot receiver. Get him into motion, distract the linebackers. I just free up some bodies in that box that you're going to run against. Michael Masunis, tight end. His season was cut short last year. He was your best blocking tight end. Don't believe me? Look how the blocking was at the tight end position between the first month of the season and then the next 2 months of the season. I think there's a pretty big difference there. So not to say that Masunis is going to save the whole season. He gives a pretty substantial advantage in the blocking department for a tight end. At least that's how I remember it. And Aiden Childs guys can run too. Look, let's just go with some Aiden Childs stats right now when they're using his legs. Now, it's 78 designed runs last year. He forced 30 missed tackles. That is 16th best amongst quarterbacks. Again, I'll say that again. 30 missed tackles on 78 attempts, 16th best amongst quarterbacks. There's only one quarterback above him that had more missed tackles. Well, because every other quarterback had 100-plus designed runs. They were a little cautious with using his legs at the start of the year. But, yeah, he forced more missed tackles than most with less attempts, guys. 27th in yards after contact, 2 amongst quarterbacks. That's not too bad. 3.5 yards after contact per carry. Now, guys, before we start talking about Eli Tau-Tolliver and just how I guess I'll say it, like I don't see it. I don't see how he's going to be the answer here, but I will throw him a bone here. I will say that, hey, 5.2 yards per carry at Sacramento State. Okay, pretty good. Pair it with this, guys. 38 catches out of the backfield. Like, that's not nothing. That's a substantial number for a running back, no matter what level you're doing it at. High-level FBS, down to the FCS, whatever it is. And, hey, Keith Banafa, running backs coach here at Michigan State, he lauded him not too long ago for being a hard runner. Because that's the kind of running backs that this staff really likes. I mean, look at the other guys, too. Brandon Toulis, Mekhi Frazier, same with Eli Tau-Tolliver. All these guys, 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", 210 pounds, just bowling balls of men. Like, that's how they like their running backs. Go back to the Oregon State days, too. Damian Martinez, same kind of build. They like destruction from their running backs here. So here is where, as we get further into the offseason and as we, shuffle this 4-5 car race, and that's using Keith Banafa's words right there. That's how he described the running back battle here, a 4-5 car race. He used Zion Gist as the other running back for that 5th car there, if you're wondering who the 5th name would be. Here's where I do wonder, is it actually going to get better? And the bar's very low. Because let's just look at the stats here. I looked this up today, and I almost fell out of my chair when I looked this up. And maybe you won't. Maybe you do realize it has been this bad over the last few years. But, guys, in the last 7 seasons, Michigan State has been in the bottom 3 in yards per carry for 5 of those seasons in the Big Ten. 2021 with Kenneth Walker. Okay, that's an outlier. And then the year right after that, 2022. Every other year, the last 7 years, Michigan State has been last, second to last, or third last in the Big Ten at yards per carry. Yeah. So that's tough, not just for winning games. It's nice to have a running back. It's good to see a pick up 3rd and 1s every once in a while, which some Michigan State struggled at lately. I don't need to tell you that, but I will anyway. But it's also how Jonathan Smith wants his teams to identify as. Like we've been looking for an identity for Michigan State football, for years now, guys. We've just been wandering, not even knowing who we are on the football field since I don't know. Like the if you want to use like the D'Antonio days, sure, fine. Like the late stage years, the identity was great defense. Close to nothing on offense. But if you want like a true good identity, it was, that stout run defense, good run offense that we used to have back in the day. Jonathan Smith has not just said that he wants to be a run-first offense, but he has also shown at his previous stop at Oregon State that he wants to be a run-first team. Last year, Michigan State passed it 50% of the time. That's not what Jonathan Smith wants to do at all. Now, some of that can be attributed to something nice. Like Aiden Childs is a good talent. You got a good arm in the kid. You want to pass it maybe a little more than you're used to at Oregon State. But the two other reasons why it was 50% was, number one, you were trailing in a lot of these games. And number two, you didn't have a run game that you could rely on. Now, guys, like I said, last year, Michigan State passed the ball 50% of the time. Okay? That's way more. Because the year before at Oregon State, 47% of the time. The year before that, in 2022, Oregon State passed the ball 39% of the time. That was good for 121st in the country. They had a pretty damn good year that season, too. 10 wins in 2022. The 2021 season, Oregon State, they passed the ball 41% of times, 111th in the nation. So I don't think it'll ever go down to like 40% this year, especially, again, with a guy like Aiden Childs as quarterback. But maybe humming somewhere around like 45, 46%. Now, 4 or 5% might not seem like a big difference, but it does add up over the course of not just a game, but a season, too. You want to establish the run here. Now, this is where I get worried because with Eli Tau-Tolliver, I feel really bad about it because, hey, the staff obviously likes him. He's a good, hard runner, 5.2 yards per carry. Yeah, that's all great. You have maybe heard me say this stat before if you've listened to the show, but he was not even in the top 100 amongst FCS running backs for yards after contact. Yards per carry after contact. Yes, he had 30 missed tackles forced. That's great. That's 7th in the Big Sky Conference. But the FCS is much bigger than the Big Sky Conference. That is 60th overall in the whole FCS division in missed tackles forced. And I pull out those stats because, if you watched last year, our running backs really had to force a lot of missed tackles for themselves and get a lot of yards after contact. We talked about the offensive line could be a little bit better this year. There's reason to believe it. I will see it when I believe it. But, and outside of him, Brandon Toulis, Mekhi Frazier, 7 carries each last year, about 20 yards each for both of those guys. I'm not here to write them off. I'm just here to say we don't know a lot about these guys. So it's a big question mark. It was north of 95% of the running back handoffs that you're saying goodbye to last year with Nathan Carter and Kayron Lynch-Adams. And I'll also add that, too. Those are 2 running backs that I thought were, plus running backs. I'm not saying they should have been, on the what's the running back award here? No, it's not the Doak Walker, is it? Whatever it is, the best running back in the nation. I'm not saying they should have been first team All Big Ten. I think that the issues with the run game and the offensive line last year really kind of shaded as good as Nathan Carter and Kayron Lynch-Adams could have been. These guys were getting met by defenders the minute the ball was shoved into their chest. So it was a tough season for them. I mean, again, not to make combine numbers everything, and these guys weren't invited to the combine. Sorry. I mean, pro day numbers, but you look at Nathan Carter's numbers, they go up against anyone that was at the NFL combine. The Atlanta Falcons made him a priority undrafted free agent right off the rip, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a little bit of a drop-off from Nathan Carter and Kayron Lynch-Adams. So to answer your question, what to give you hope with, it might be everything around the running back, the offensive line, the wide receivers taking attention away from the box that they're running into. Aiden Childs having his legs more utilized than they were last year. or me just being a big old dummy and look at Eli Tau-Tolliver. He just barnstorms to a 1,200 rushing yard season. I would love to be wrong on this, but yeah, interesting choice for the one running back that they walked out of the transfer portal season with. But hey, who am I? All right, guys, another question here. Tyler from the mailbag, which, by the way, guys, I'm going to hit the pause button here. Any questions? Sheehan_sports on Twitter or lockedonspartans@gmail.com. Now, Tyler wrote in, Matt, if you were the Michigan State athletic director, what changes or updates would you make to Spartan Stadium? Well, I'll do the same. It's actually not even a joke. It's actually a legitimate idea that I always say, first and foremost, make the offensive line that plays on the field a little bit better. Pour all your resources possible into that. And they did pour some good resources into that. Like Connor Moore, he didn't pick Michigan State over Ohio State just because he loves walking on the Red Cedar River and loves the botanical gardens here. Like, no, I think some dollars and cents were at play here. But, I mean, I've said this before, too. It's been a while, so I'll rehash this one. But the north scoreboards, those two little scoreboards over there, in between that, now, it's probably not possible. I probably might need to tap into an architect or an engineer or both to make this happen. But make it like a social paddock up there. Like a beer garden up there, if you will. You know, kind of how like AT&T Stadium in Dallas, like both end zones, they have those 3 levels of rails where people can stand and watch games at. Do that right there. There's a change going on in college sports. Some people want it to be a more social thing, especially, let's say, for example, like your team's not doing that great in November and you're not going to live and die with every snap, but you just want to go somewhere, have a drink, hang out, and watch the game if it gets interesting. Do that between the 2 scoreboards in the north paddock of Spartan Stadium. What do you want to make it into? A beer garden? You want to put a playground up there? You want to put a sports book up there? You guys could all figure that out. I'm just here to lay the slab down there to make it a paddock between that. People seem to like food options, like better food options, so I would listen to those cries because I'm not a foodie. Look, guys, I'm wearing a Little Caesar shirt right now. I think that is legitimately some of the greatest pizza that you can find out there. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but there are a lot of foodies out there, a lot of people that want more local cuisine. Sure, bring that to the concession stands. Why not? Throw another restroom into Spartan Stadium. I have no idea where it would fit, but we'll try to find to make it work. But I've also heard a lot of cries about, hey, you got to redo the concourse, make it better. It just looks like a dungeon down there. I truly don't mind the concourse. Keep it as is. I'm going to put my resources and assets a lot of other places because you're not going to games to hang out in a concourse. Like, it should feel like a dungeon. It should feel like a place that you want to go to and get out of as soon as possible to either A, leave the stadium, or B, more importantly, get to your seat to watch the game. So I get it. Like, the TVs are old in there. Yeah, if you're in line for concessions at halftime and it's going a little too long, it's bleeding into the third quarter, I guess you want to watch the game. But I don't need this whole cushy baller lifestyle concourse. Like, no, I just put the money literally anywhere else and get to your seats to watch the game. That's where I'll end at right there, guys. All right, guys, much appreciated. All you guys that listen, all you watch, especially everyone that watches and listens every single day right here to the Locked On Podcast Network. We will be back tomorrow. Going to get more into basketball talk is the plan right now, barring any breaking news that happens on the football side of things. But, guys, until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all.